And then, listen to this. It jeopardizes the lucrative farmland, valuable fresh water resources, and attraction to our beautiful valley, and taints our fine wine reputation, the Christians wrote. Now, this is a couple, see, who live here.
Right.
Then it goes on, and I thought this was wonderful. The United Steelworkers Union wrote, quote, "The expansion is a step backwards in terms of job creation, environmental protection, and community development." I am so pleased that here is industry also seeing the problem of letting us continue with what we've had and not making a very important change for all of us.
Right. They so understand the equation, Frank. The steelworkers union, the paper, the lumber, rubber, they've all come together in opposition to this expansion because they know a landfill is a job killer. Waste Management has not offered one more job with this expansion proposal. Not one. It's status quo. But if we close down the landfill and we use our garbage as a resource, and we do it specifically with the mantra of jobs, jobs, more jobs, that everything we do from here out with our solid waste is to create jobs and to create county revenue and to lower our garbage rates. It so can be done because it's being done across the country. But we have to take the control. So, you know, these labor force of these three counties, Polk, Marion, and Yamhill,
yes,
have come out and endorsed the denial, which is, I think, a very big statement.
See, that's, I mean, in a democracy where the people finally get
right,
the word,
right,
you know, of what's really going on and what the possibilities are, when the people speak and speak with knowledge, I mean, then all of us ought to get behind the people,
right,
and the well-being of all the people.
Right. Well, the irony is the two big unions, the steel union and the paper union, what does our paper mill and our newsprint and our steel mill do? They recycle. That's what it is. The steel mill takes in metal and makes new metal. The paper, newsprint takes in all of this material, mashes it together and makes newsprint. What more do we need to understand? If we were to close the landfill and these two labor forces that are prepared and desperate to increase their job, bank, who have the footprint, who probably have some capital, who have the knowledge and the imposition, they very well could be the place that we could put one of these alternative systems that does an aerobic digesting system or whatever we want to end up planning to do. Who knows? All I know is that they need to be part of this whole process, and now they've come forward and they are. And those industries are as important to the economy as any, and the CEOs who somehow think that all it is they're going to have their garbage rates go up are frankly short-sighted. I'm glad to see that their employees have seen that they want to increase their compatriots in jobs and make sure that this whole system is opened up into pure American competition, where Waste Management can compete with any other company or any other system, but we need to have the denial first, and then the real creative, bidding and things such as putting these plants on already existing wonderful industries can come about.
Well, you see, that's why I think what you did and what the member of the City Council of Newburgh did in going back to this small town area in New York State,
right,
where they got it right in terms of serving the well-being of the people and the environment,
right,
and the future, you see.
No, Frank, it's there. I mean, I had to get in line. There was a delegation from China who was going through this system and checking it out.
Well, when you were in New York State?
When I was in New York, right.
People from China.
The Chinese government had sent a whole delegation to see this facility because it's proven, it's working, it's viable. It's not emerging, which
yes,
is sort of the catchphrase that they want to say. It is, up and operational. It's got its numbers. It's got everything. It's so incredible. And the great thing about it, Frank, is it's small and manageable. It's not this gigantic mega transport garbage in from all over the place. I mean, Hawaii now has just inked a deal to ship its garbage 3,000 miles across the ocean on barges, ship it up our gorge, and store it up into the gorge. I mean, that is nuts. Yes. That is crazy. I mean, that only cost them $100 a ton. I mean, I'm surprised it's not more. But I mean, it's just so unnecessary.
See, when we know that we can learn from others. That's the Chinese are ready to learn from us, but we can learn from ourselves.
Right.
In terms of what's happening in a small town in New York State that we could have right here in Yamhill County.
Right.
You see?
It's local, local, local. I'm just convinced of it. I mean, that's just in so many of our national issues. If people just contain themselves to their own issues and responsibilities, know that they have them and that the answers are right here at home. You know, click your heels 3 times.
Okay.
It's just right here. The answers are right here.
Well, we are so fortunate to have you and other members of Waste Not, because that's really what this is about. Let's not waste our waste and what we could learn from our waste and what we could learn from what others are doing with their waste.
Right, Frank.
You see?
Yeah,
I mean, that's really getting an education, isn't it?
Right. It's no longer MSW, municipal solid waste.
No.
Or we're calling it municipal solid resource, MSR. It needs to be seen as a resource. Every scrap of garbage needs to be seen as having a beneficial use, a revenue, or it needs to be turned back into where it came from, into the ground to, you know, put that carbon back in where it belongs. It just doesn't need to be mounted on a river, on prime farmland, on our main tourist route. It's just, at this point, just so unnecessary.
You know, I hadn't heard that MSR before.
Well, it's something that Waste Not has coined. I haven't Google checked it to see if it's used somewhere else, but
let's hear it once again, because we're at the end, almost the end of our time. But this is really worth getting up here.
Right. The standard phrase for waste these days is MSW, municipal solid waste. Waste it is not.
Yes.
What it is a resource. It needs to be referred to as municipal solid resource. MSR, municipal solid resource. It truly is a commodity that we all need to embrace locally, make sure that we create the jobs and more jobs and stabilize our garbage rate and by all means protect the environment for everyone. No one wants to destroy the farms or the river, and it just doesn't need to even be put into an opportunity where it may or may not happen. It just isn't necessary.
Well, I just want to tell you, I think you are a tremendous resource for this county and the well-being of all of us. Thanks for all that you are doing, you and others are doing, in bringing to our attention what our possibilities are.
Well, thank you, Frank. Thank you. And we thank you. Waste Not thanks you so much. You know, I'm just part of a small a team who's been really out there working very, very hard to do the right thing. And I'm so positive in the future of solid waste that it's going to end up okay. We're going to save the farms and we're going to create jobs.
And be a resource.
And be a resource.
Thank you.
Thanks
you, for being on Speaking Frankly.
We appreciate it.
Okay.
Thanks.